How do you deal with death? Embrace the eternal now. How do you deal with death? I die every moment. I do not accumulate death. Therefore, it is not a problem. If you truly live, then death is not an issue at all. You need not struggle with it, for it does not truly exist. Death is a problem that is created. Try to understand it. It arises because you do not allow the past to die. It continuously accumulates, becoming a burden, the weight of death. If you let the past die away with each passing moment, if you put an end to it, then with every moment you are reborn, and you do not accumulate dead weight. In that case, you do not accumulate death, and thus there is no issue to handle or resolve. In every moment you become fresh, and you know that this freshness is eternal, timeless. Even if what we call death occurs, you will not truly die. In that instant, life becomes the past, and you no longer cling to it. You learn something in living, that you must not cling. Therefore, if you do not cling to life, there is no fear of death. Clinging to life is what creates the problem. Why do you cling to life? Because you have never been taught how to live it fully. You have been damaged, conditioned in a way that prevents you from truly living. You do not live life. You merely exist, and therefore you are afraid. You never immerse yourself completely in anything. You do not love, cry, or laugh wholeheartedly. You have forgotten the language of totality. You remain only a fragment. Even in love, you do not dare to go all the way. You do not allow it to fully manifest. You continuously resist. First, you accumulate the dead past. That dead weight builds around you. That rigid past grows ever heavier as it continuously increases. Your life, inherently delicate and fragile, is never lived fully when burdened by that dead past. You long to move forward, yet it drags you back. Even as you walk, you never travel the complete path. As a result, nothing is ever fulfilled. You never love or laugh entirely. Yes, you laugh often, but your laughter is forever just a small fragment. You still do not know what life truly is. You have not danced its full rhythm, nor sung its complete song of wholeness. When you live fully, from moment to moment, you feel no fear of death. There is nothing to fear. You have lived your life, enjoyed its blessings, and felt gratitude. Then death appears merely as a grand respite, nothing more. Death will not take anything from you, for all that can be taken has already been left behind before death arrives. And when death does come, you will experience it fully. Death as illusion, living in the eternal now. When Socrates was about to die from poison, his disciples cried out and wept. He opened his eyes and said, "What are you doing? Why are you weeping? In this beautiful moment, what are you doing? How can you miss this? Come, join me. Death is happening. Do not let this opportunity pass. Try to behold death." He continued speaking to his disciples. "Now my legs are numb. Yet this is the mystery. Though my legs are numb and I cannot feel them, my sense of self remains intact, unchanged." Then he said, "My arms too are numb. They have vanished from my perception. One of my disciples even struck me. I was struck, yet I did not feel it. And I laughed, saying, 'How strange. Now that my body is nearly dead, I still live as usual. The feeling of my consciousness remains as complete as ever.'" Soon, he began to sense that his heart was gradually sinking. But at the very final moment, he said, "Remember, this is my final word. I can speak no more, for my tongue has become stiff." His last words to his disciples were, "I still live completely. My consciousness has not diminished one bit. So, even though my body is fading, I am not destroyed. I stand at the edge of disappearance, yet the awareness of my essential self remains untouchable. In fact, it is clearer than ever. In this context, death becomes like a dark board upon which life is written in white chalk. In life, you might not always perceive the subtlety, the sharpness, or the sensitivity of existence, but in death you can perceive it through contrast. It is much like gazing at the stars at night. When darkness falls, the stars shine even brighter. During the day, they still exist, but the sunlight overshadows them. At night, they appear beautifully, twinkling. This is what happens with death. Life transforms into a dazzling star. You might ask, how do you deal with death? I do not truly know what death is because I am constantly dying. With each passing moment, I let the past die away. I do not live in the past, nor do I live in the future, since the future is merely a projection of the past. The dead past creates a false future, and only this moment is real. I am here right now experiencing this moment. So, where is the problem of death? How can you die in this very moment? Death is nothing more than a projected notion. One day you will die, they say. It is simply a hypothesis. One day you have seen someone die. But have you truly seen them die? You only witness the external manifestation of death without understanding what happens within. No one has ever truly died. Death is the grand non-existent. It does not truly exist. Only life is eternal. If you let go of the past, then the future too will vanish, and in the present there is no death, only life. From life cycles to nirvana, when exhaustion sparks transcendence. Listen to this beautiful story. A college psychology class was studying how people respond to sexual stimuli and passionate desire. How many students here engage in intimate encounters more than once a week? 5 hands were raised. And how many engage once a week? 10 hands were raised. How many engage twice a month? 8 hands were raised. Once a month? 4 hands were raised. And how many engage only once a year? A boy at the back excitedly waved his hand and giggled. The professor said, "If you only engage once a year, I don't see you as being very enthusiastic." Blushing with excitement, the boy replied, "Yes, but tonight is that night." Let this moment be the one and only moment. Do not live in the past, for no one can live in the past. It is gone. And do not build a palace for yourself in the future, for the future does not exist. Live fully in this moment. Jesus once told his disciples, "Look at the trumpets of the field flowers. How beautiful they are. Even Solomon, adorned with the most precious jewels, cannot compare to their beauty." What is the secret of these field flowers? They live entirely in the moment. Today is day, tonight is night, and this very moment is unique. Once you begin to live in this moment, you will continually experience life. Life will refresh you and keep bringing new vitality. Yes, the body may one day wear out, but that is not death. It is merely a tired body taking a rest. The mind, too, will eventually fail, for it has been working relentlessly from the moment you were born until you die. 70, 80, 90 years. It is like a machine. Have some compassion for that machine. It grows old, ceases to function well, and eventually you need a new one. This body too grows old and frail, like a complex machine that science has yet to replace. It operates automatically. You might think that automation is new, but your body has been automatic for millions of years. When you eat, your food is digested automatically. When you breathe, your blood carries oxygen and expels carbon dioxide without your conscious thought. Imagine if you had to consciously perform all these tasks. You surely would not survive. Everything is automatic. And for 70, 80, 90 years, this machine works perfectly. Even if you sometimes feel unwell, it matters not. The miracle is that you continue to exist. Sometimes you are strong.
Yet every machine grows tired. Even steel gets fatigued. Scientists now say that steel too grows weary. As I speak, not only is my body tired, but even this microphone is tired. Everything needs rest. Death is merely rest, nothing more. You dissolve into the elements. Your body returns to the earth to rest. Yet it will be reborn in thousands of new bodies. It will return. Have you not seen this everywhere? Spring comes, trees burst into bloom, then the blossoms return to the earth. Leaves fall, decompose into fertilizer, and nourish other trees. Then they live under the sun, enjoy the breeze, the moon, and the stars. Then they smile, laugh, sing as birds gather around. This cycle continues. Life is a continuous series of action and rest. Life is not merely what you call living. Death is also part of life. Indeed, it is through death that life exists. For after death, life rests and then bursts forth with renewed energy, just as one sleeps through the night. Yes, sleep is a small death. You die for a few hours. If you sleep deeply, in the morning you will be refreshed, youthful, your eyes sparkling, your legs dancing with joy and enthusiasm. Without proper rest, you feel tired in the morning. Therefore, learn to live and learn to die in the truest sense. When you die, let yourself die completely so that when you are reborn, joy and vitality will overflow. And why worry about it? You have never really fretted over a thing, have you? Have you ever pondered where you were before this life, before your birth? You do not care. So why worry about death? You have already experienced death countless times without concern. Perhaps you were once Alexander the Great. Who can tell? Everyone, whether as a leader or some other figure, has experienced death. You might have been Genghis Khan, or even Adolf Hitler. Many Germans, for instance. Who's to say? Everything happens in this world, but you need not fret. Even if someone tells you that you were once Alexander the Great, you would simply say, you don't care. Yet when you truly are Alexander the Great, that becomes a problem, and you start to think more about death. You will die, and yet, at the same time, you will not die. This is the paradox. The tired body, the weary mind, the exhausted ego. Yet the true essence inside, the master of your being, your consciousness, finds a way to break free, to transform, continuously enduring. Then comes a moment when you are weary of life's endless cycles. First, you tire of one cycle, then another, then yet another, like wheels turning one after the other. As you become increasingly aware of the ins and outs of life, you find yourself exhausted not by a single lifetime, but by the ceaseless motion of life, a phenomenon that Hindus call a wagaman. When you grow tired of this constant coming and going, you begin to turn towards spirituality. A new element seeps into your consciousness, a fresh ray of light. Then you start to contemplate nirvana. Ordinary death only wipes away one lifetime so that you may be reborn. Nirvana, however, erases all lifetimes, so that you no longer live as an individual, but begin to live as the universe, as God. In that state, there is no need to return to your body, mind, or ego.